Disobedience in thine eye. Oh, sir, your presence is too bold, peremptory, and majesty might never yet endure. The measure of a realm from hell for Cerebral, who have the leave to leave us. When we need your use and counsel, we shall send for you. You are about to speak. Here at home and undertook. Well, as he says, not with such strength deny, as is delivered to your majesty. Father, be my seed. Either envy, therefore, or misprison is guilty of this fault, and not my son.
Destroyed so cowardly, and but for these vile guns, he would himself have been
Why he doth deny his prisoners, but with proof of sole exception, that we our own charge shall ransom straight his brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who on my soul hath willfully betrayed the lives of those that he did lead to fight against that great magician, Dan Glenor, whose daughter, as we hear the Earl of March, hath lately married shall our coffers then be empty to redeem a traitor home. Shall we but treason and indent with fears when they have lost and forfeit to themselves? No, on the barren mountains let him starve, for I shall never hold that man my friend, whose tongue shall ask me for one penny cost, to ransom home revolted Mortimer. The lives of those that he did lead to fight against that great magician, Dan Glenor, whose daughter, as we hear the Earl of March, hath lately married shall our coffers then. For on the barren mountains let him starve, for I shall never hold that man my friend, whose tongue shall ask me for one penny cost, to ransom home revolted Mortimer. We never did fall off, not some beliefs, but by the chance of war, the more than two, he's no more for the top, for all those rules, those battles, which valiantly he took. When all the gentle seven searching men, he took the opposition hand to hand, he kicked her from the best part of an hour, and changing on him and would wait like never. 3 times he breathed, and 3 times they drink. Upon agreement, I'll swim the first lot. Upon agreement, I'll swim 7 slot. Who then invited with the bloody looks, and they fully among the trembling reeds, and it is glistened in the hollow bank. Blood stained with these valiant combatants, their breaking race and rotten policy. Color working with such deadly wounds, nor could the noble Mortimer resist so many, and all willingly, then let not him be slandered with revolt. because you're local.
The king hath made your nephew mad, who struck this heat up after I was gone. Who struck this heat up after I was gone.
He will fulfill all my prisoners, and when the wretched once again of my wife's brother, then his cheek will pale with my face he turned, and I am death, trembling even at the name of Mortimer. Cannot blame him, was not he proclaimed by Richard that dead is the next of blood. He was a heard the proclamation, and then it was with the unhappy king, whose wrongs in us come upon the king, whose wrongs in us come upon a race that fought upon his Irish expedition. For 20 years accepted, did return to be deposed and shortly murdered. For his death we in no world's wide mouth let him scandalized and thought he spoken of. When lost at grave, in Richard then proclaim my brother and the Mortimer to be killed. You do it, not to do it. Proclaim my brother Edmund Mortimer, heir to the crown. He did myself to hear it. And restore yourselves into the good thoughts of the world again. Revenge and cheering and disdain, contempt of this fuck you studies day and night to answer all the debt he owes to you, even with bloody payment of your debts. Therefore I say, peace, cousin, say no more. And now a woman glass of a secret book and to your division seeking discontent. So humanity and dangerous, a full of power, addicted to for diverse reasons, which I shall send you in. Be assured, will easily be granted you my love. Your silence got me being first employed shall secretly to the bosom cream of that same noble prelate. Well beloved, the Archbishop of York, is it not? Of York, is it not? True, who bears hard his brother's death at Bristol, the Lord struck. I speak not this in estimation as what I think might be, but what I know is ruminated, plotted, and set down, and only stays but to behold the face of that occasion that shall bring it on. I smell it upon my life and will do well. Before the game is afoot, thou still let slip. Why can I choose but be a noble plot? And then the power of Scotland and York to join with Mortimer. And so they shall. In faith it is exceedingly well aimed. 'Tis no new reason bids us speed to save our heads by raising overhead. Forbear ourselves as even as we can. The King will always think him in our debt, and think we think ourselves unsatisfied till he hath found a time to pay us home. And see already how he doth begin to make us strangers to his looks of love. He does what we revenge. Cousin, farewell, no farther go in this. The night I let us know direct your course. When time is right, which will be suddenly, I'll steal to Glendower or Morton Wood, where you and Douglas and our flowers at once. As I will freshen it shall happily meet to bear our fortunes in our own strong arms, which now we hold at much uncertainty. Farewell, good brother, we shall thrive, I trust. Let all you let the hours be short to fields of rose and groves of the Lord of Sports. Farewell, good brother, we shall thrive, I trust. Uncle adieu, or let the hours be short till fields of rose and groves of blood are sport. Farewell, good brother, we shall thrive, I trust. Uncle adieu, or let the hours be short till fields of rose and groves of blood are sport. Till all the roads and roads of blood